very first instruction he gave it to me was not after initiation, but when we arrived from Bombay on a train, and then we reached Radha Damodar temple by Tonga. It was early morning, and we entered into Prabhupada's quarters, small, tiny room, about maybe 15 of us, and I was sitting just in front of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada was speaking, and we were all listening. And I had one habit of, when I arise to hear someone with attention, I had a tendency to do like that. You know, some people do that. I was sitting in front of Prabhupada doing that, and Prabhupada said, "Stop it!" So that was in fact my first meeting, personal meeting, and first instruction that yes. One morning on Juhu Beach, we were walking, and the birds were flying in the sky. And they were flying in a very perfect formation, and they would turn around, you know, all of them together, or one bird going and all other birds flying, one straight line or U-turn, you know. So I asked Prabhupada, how do these birds manage, flying in a perfect formation? How do they communicate with each other? Who's there? And Prabhupada's response was, they are not less intelligent like you are. When Prabhupada gave instruction about the bullock cart was in 76, I think it was month of September, around Radhastami time, when our Nithaya Gaur World Traveling Sankirtan Party had come to Delhi, and around that time we had lost our big buses. They were from Germany, and they could only stay for so many months in the country. So around that time they had to go. But I still had a man, because that party was originally Hansadutha's party, and so he had returned to Germany for some business, and so I was left behind as in charge of the party. So as we lost the vehicles, then Prabhupada is the one, as he realized that we had no mode of transportation. One day he called me upstairs in his quarters, and what did they say, out of blue, he he said, "What about bullock carts?" Because he said how these big machines and vehicles, they always break down, and so much maintenance and so much. And I don't know, maybe he knew that I was from a simple village background, so he came up with the idea of bullock cart. And this is how I got this new assignment of traveling in the cart, village to village. The day we wanted to start our bullock cart Sankirtan from Vrindavan to Mayapur, we went to see Srila Prabhupada. Wanted him to give a little inaugural speech and some further instructions. And because it was winter time, he asked us that we all should have 2 blankets with us. He said our cart should have rubber tires, and not the other kind, the wooden ones. And he said when we go to the village, we should park next to the well. And he gave reason why. Says, so the well is the heart of the village. all people of the village, they come to the well to get the water. So you need not go to them, or they will come to you if you are next to the well. And he said, well meaning water, and water, then you will be suchi, you will also stay clean. So that was his instruction. He also talked how Mahatma Gandhi had kind of failed, because Mahatma Gandhi was trying to keep people in the villages, but how Mahatma Gandhi was stressing on a village industry and whatever is available within the radius of 5 miles, they should just be happy with those resources. Idea was kind of good, Prabhupada said, but he said what lacking was this spirituality which would satisfy their souls, and then they would be happy with the bare minimum facilities. So he gave us a task. The instruction was that you go to the villages and try to increase their attraction for the holy name. And as they have this higher taste for the name of the Lord, then wherever they are, they will stay there. So these were some of his instructions the day we started. One time I wrote to Prabhupada while we were on the way to Mayapur with his bullock carts and kirtan, giving some hints that we needed some financial help to maintain this program, and Prabhupada wrote to me, and he sent a big Sankirtan score, how the big quantity books are being distributed, and he said, this is how we are maintaining our institution, by book distribution, and you also have to do. And he said outside help is not healthy, and he said if your program is being appreciated by the public, their appreciation has to be practical. That means let them help you, let them assist you. Otherwise, just a lip service. To that effect, he wrote us in letter and encouraged us to increase book distribution also on the bullock carts and kirtan. When I was 2.5 years in the movement, when I asked Prabhupada, after one evening darshan, when there was no one around, I approached Prabhupada and with the desire of taking sannyas. And he said, wait. So I was waiting for 1 year. I didn't talk further. Then, this is in Bombay, I again found Prabhupada by himself one day, and I approached him, and this was in fact the time Srila Swami, who was my colleague in Bombay, he was recommended for sannyas. He was asked to go to Vrindavan by Prabhupada, so he was going to get sannyas. So that time I also approached Prabhupada. And when he heard that I wanted to take sannyas, and his first response was, "You are already a sannyasi." And when he said I was not satisfied, he started preaching to me the first verse of the 6th chapter in Bhagavad-gita. What is that? No niragnir no chakriyaha. The true yogi is, the whole Prabhupada talked about that verse. It's defining sannyas. But then I was not budging an inch. I was keeping some pressure on. And so towards the end he said, "So you want to undergo the formality of sannyas?" And I said, "Yes, Prabhupada." And Prabhupada said, yes, so you go also with Sridhar and meet me there in Vrindavan. So this was December of 75. So we both jumped on the train, and Prabhupada had gone with Ambarish and Hansadutta and Gopal Krishna, other Harikesh Maharaj also, to Kurukshetra, and then he returned, and then courtyard of Krishna Balaram temple, we were given sannyas. Yeah, after taking sannyas, after the end of the initiation ceremony, myself, Sridhar Maharaj, and Prithuputra, I think he was from France, 3 of us were given sannyas. We went into quarters of Srila Prabhupada to check 2 things, whether our names were going to change and whether new assignments are. And of course our assignments did not change, and also regarding the names, Prabhupada said just add Swami to your names. So that was one thing. And then he talked to us about Manmanabho Madhavakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru, that verse. Said Krishna is asking us to do 4 things, and if we just do these 4 things, remembering Krishna and worshipping and offering him obeisances and becoming his devotee, he said without duplicity, that word duplicitous, then your preaching will be very, very effective, and people will take you very seriously. So that was one instruction in his personal meeting. He gave it to us. Prabhupada was very sick in Vrindavan, and that time our party was traveling in North India. In fact, we were in Badrikashram when we heard Prabhupada was getting more sick. We rushed back to Vrindavan, and soon upon our arrival there, we were allowed to go into his quarters for darshan. So we spent quite some time with him. He was lying on bed for months. He was already on the bed. But he seemed to be very enthusiastic to hear the Sankirtan reports, and he was inquiring, so which book is selling the most, and what is your daily collection? He was making all these inquiries. As we had just returned from Badrikashram, in a humorous way, I mentioned to Prabhupada that Srila Prabhupada, we presented your Bhagavad-gita as it is to Srila Vyasadeva. Because in Badrikashram there's a cave of Srila Vyasadeva, and he is supposed to be residing there. So we had visited the cave. Of course, we did not see him. We were carrying Bhagavad-gita, and we imagined that Srila Vyasadeva saw it. So we said, we presented your Bhagavad-gita to Srila Vyasadeva. Prabhupada was pleased to hear that. Je anilo premadana koruna prachur